Lulla had been running for weeks. She didn't know from what exactly. Her past was messy, dangerous, full of mistakes she wanted to bury. Her bags were worn, her shoes scuffed, and her hands rough from odd jobs and sleeping in barns, alleys, and abandoned shacks. She had nowhere to go, no one to trust, and the memory of betrayal burned hotter than the sun. When she spotted the small ranch tucked into the foothills, she thought maybe she could finally disappear. A notice on the fence said, "Ranch hand needed, room and board provided." She didn't read further. It didn't matter. All she knew was she needed work, food, and a place to sleep. The first time she met the cowboy, he didn't introduce himself. He stood in the shadows of the barn, tall, broad-shouldered, hands thick and calloused, hat shadowing his face. He watched her for a long moment as she fed the horses, swept the barn, and repaired a broken fence post. "You don't mind wuckin' hard." His voice was quiet but firm, like a command she couldn't refuse. "I've done worse," Lulla replied, not looking up. He nodded. "Good. You start tomorrow before sunrise." And just like that, she was in. She cleaned, fed, rode, and repaired whatever broke. She learned the rhythm of the ranch: sunrise milking, noon feeding, sunset fences, and livestock checks. She barely noticed the quiet cowboy who sometimes helped her lift hay, sometimes watched silently from the porch, always just out of reach. The other workers whispered about him. "Never speaks about his family," one said. "Never goes to town. Doesn't need money," another added. Lulla didn't care. She didn't ask questions. She had learned long ago that questions brought trouble. But she noticed little things. A hidden cellar under the barn that smelled faintly of leather and dust. A locked office where he disappeared for hours, counting papers, old ledgers, and strange envelopes. Sometimes, at night, she saw him riding the fields alone, silhouetted against the moon, the way his horse moved like it knew secrets he didn't say. One evening, while repairing the barn roof after a storm, she slipped. Her hand screamed, heart raced. The cowboy appeared without a sound, steadying her. "You'll kill yourself one day," he said quietly, gripping her arm. "I'm fine," she protested. "No," he said, tone firm. "You've been running your whole life. One day it'll catch you." Something in his eyes stopped her. For the first time in years, she felt someone really saw her. Not her lies, not her past, not the mistakes, just her. Weeks passed. Lulla grew stronger. She learned the land, the animals, the rhythm. And slowly the quiet cowboy began to talk. Not much, just small details about the ranch, about caring for animals, about storms. But she listened intently. One night a fire broke out in the barn. Lulla woke to smoke and flames, screaming horses trapped inside. She ran without thinking, breaking through the back door. The cowboy appeared, drenched in sweat, cutting the barn ropes, lifting frightened animals. Together they saved every horse. When the last animal was out, the fire finally burning out, he looked at her. "You're braver than most I've seen." She laughed, coughing, tears in her eyes. "I didn't have a choice." He shook his head. "No, most people do. You didn't. That's what makes you different." After that night, she noticed subtle changes. His quiet glances, small gestures, coffee waiting for her in the morning, blankets left on the porch for her when she worked late, a gentle nod when she finished chores. She felt herself leaning toward him without meaning to. One afternoon, she stumbled upon the locked office while looking for tools. Curiosity burned stronger than fear. The door was cracked, and she peeked inside. Stacks of gold coins, ledgers showing ownership of multiple ranches, investments, bank accounts she couldn't even comprehend. A fortune hidden in plain sight. Her eyes widened. The quiet cowboy, the man who never wanted visitors, had more wealth than anyone in town could imagine. He appeared behind her silently. "Curiosity will get you killed," he said, voice calm but firm. I didn't mean," she stammered. "I know," he said, softening. "Most people see what they want. You see what matters." She stared at him. Why hide all this?" "Because wealth changes people," he said simply. "It brings greed, lies, pain. I only wanted a place that felt real, Honest, people who matter. That's why I don't go to town, that's why I don't leave, that's why I hired you. Her chest tightened. She couldn't respond. No one had ever chosen her like that before. No one had ever trusted her. Days turned into weeks. She stayed, worked, and slowly trust grew. The quiet cowboy began sharing pieces of his life, letting her see the man behind the fortune. And one evening, under a sky painted with stars, he handed her a small wooden box. "For emergencies," he said. Inside, carefully wrapped, were papers showing ownership rights to the ranch, the barns, and even the house she slept in. "You're not leaving," he said. I don't know if I can stay," she whispered. "You can," he said, firm but gentle. "This is more than a job, this is a home, and I want you here for real this time." She looked at him, heart pounding. I think I finally have a chance to stop running." He nodded. "And I think I finally have someone to stop hiding from." The sun rose the next morning, casting golden light across the fields. Lulla rode her favorite horse, feeling the wind on her face, safe for the first time in years. The cowboy rode beside her, silent, but his hand found hers, and she held it without hesitation. No one came to the ranch to see the fortune. No one knew that the quiet cowboy had more than he needed. It didn't matter, because for Lulla, for him, the riches were never the point. The point was freedom, safety, and the beginning of a new life together. And under the endless sky, with the horses grazing and the river sparkling, Lulla realized that sometimes the hardest things to escape, your past, your fears, your loneliness, could be softened by the quietest touch, the unluckless protector, and the most unexpected trust. And she stayed. Not because of money, not because of luxury, but because she had finally found a place where she could belong, and a man who would never let her go.